All right, well, I'll try to read a few Doomer Hour stories, but damn, I'm kind of tired already. Fuck. Life was unlucky from the start. Always felt kind of like a simulation. Got singled out at already a young age, starting like 4 years old, and picked on. When I was 4, a boy of around 13 threw a big rock at my head in the playground. I ran home covered in blood, my cute denim outfit and hat filled with blood that poured out of my head. Jesus, teenagers are absolute shitheads. A couple years later, I saw a boy my age just crossing the apartment building yard in a straight beeline, not saying a thing, like in a simulation, or like in the movie It Follows, up directly to me, and sucker punched me straight in the nose in front of several of my relatives and their friends, blood pouring hard. Just didn't give no fucks. But where the fuck is, what country is this in? I feel like some of these you gotta say what country you're in. I've never seen just randomly people punching or throwing rocks at each other. Like what? Okay, anyway, it just didn't give no fucks. I still to this day don't know the cause of that behavior. Fast forward 2.5 years, 3 teenagers aged 16 to 18 threaten me at knife point till I'm reduced to a crying mess. Talking about how they're going to carve me up while showing their own various scars just for the cruelty of it. I was almost 9 then. Okay, this is... The creative writing class is off to a good start today. What the I mean, it's... I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to be like Reddit with the r/ nothing ever happens or whatever. Or it was r/ that happened, I guess this is the original one. But you get my point. These same fucks, 3 dudes and 1 girl, all aged 16 18, forced me to perform Alright, maybe I should skim the rest of this before I read it. Be me. Be me. Be born 4'5", have dragon rip my heart out, my face went. Yeah, that's Napler for you, yeah. Okay, hold on. This sounds like a fake story, I'm gonna be honest. I know there's a lot of those. I'm trying to think. I don't even know. Do I keep reading this or no, chat? Just say yes or no. It's just... I can't believe you said yes, Brian. Fuck it. We'll just keep going. I think there were slightly more no's than yeses, but I guess I'll keep reading it. So he says they forced him to perform sexual acts on the 16-year-old girl. They told me I have a choice, them or her. They recorded some of it on their phones. In a sense, I lost my innocence at 8 and never been touched by a woman since. This is no way this is like a first world country, right? If this actually happened. By now, my childhood capriciousness was pretty much gone and replaced with a hateful distrust for anyone older than me. It didn't help me one bit when I changed schools. The last time I easily made friends was 10, transferred schools a second time when I was turning 11. This is where mental health started going downhill. I was the only new arrival, an outcast in a class of 28. All the other kids had known each other since kindergarten and preschool/primary school. Only 2 of them weren't, but they were foids, so nobody picked on them. It was open season on me, though. Very first day of school, I was threatened to be beat up by their alpha group leader while the others look on. Also given a nasty nickname to go with it because I was a bit chubby. Once I stopped going outside and started coping with Vidya, gained like 20 pounds. A nickname which basically translates to deep fried donut. That's kind of funny. To be fair, that's kind of funny. Then for my 11th birthday, since video was one of my hobbies, I got a game CD for my birthday. The game was Total Overdose. I really wanted it and I loved it. After I 100%ed the game in an attempt to make friends, I shared the CDs with the neighborhood boys. When I went to retrieve the CDs a week later, they played dumb and said they forwarded the CDs and don't know where they are now. Then when I demanded them back, they beat me up to a pulp, to half blacked out state, 3-on-1, to a point where my face looked worse than Rocky's after that fight with Apollo. My parents were traveling, so I hid till it healed. Okay, this is definitely, again, if this is real, this is not a first world country. Your parents traveled without you? They traveled without you. Their 11-year-old son? Okay. Okay, you can stop now. That's why I asked, because I'm like, you guys just see this is going to be just an extreme misery cycle. It's just, all this whole story is just like 10 more paragraphs of all the bad things that happened to him, supposedly, if they happened. So I don't know. There's not really anything to take away from this. Like, this is just misery porn, as they say. So even if it did happen, it doesn't really make for a story. It's just a compilation of bad things. Okay, let's move on. Okay, I'm gonna keep the song just because I'm kind of tired and don't want to keep stopping. First of all, hail Synthler, you are my favorite YouTuber, and I've dished out a fair amount of shekels and donations, so you're hereby obligated to read my tragic tale. Well, now I want to stop. Why would you even begin with that unless you want to annoy me? I mean, I know you're joking, but you know, I know you're joking. I'm 5'10" and never had a problem with the way I look despite being short. That's not short unless you're lying about your height in an email. You're anonymous. 5'10" is not short. Anyway. And having horrendously curly hair, and everywhere I go people compliment me, but in truth I am a black-pilled introvert. What? What? Everywhere I go, people compliment me, but in truth, I am a black-pilled introvert. Okay, okay. Is this guy trying to annoy me? Anyway, when I was young, I excelled in school. High honors, stage walks, teacher's pet, only terrified of the gym. But once I reached middle school, the defining moments of my life took place. My stepdad... Okay, this took a turn. This took a turn. If I had to predict what the next sentence was, there's no universe, no fucking universe that I would ever predict this is where this story goes. Holy shit. You gotta, like, build up to this. Okay, so what he wrote was, my stepdad was raped in jail and never mentally recovered from it, and so to cope he would repeatedly call me gay whenever I showed any emotion whatsoever. Dude, like, seriously, what the fuck? Anyway, my mom is a manipulative narcissist. That's the most relatable part. That many such cases with the synth cells, I think. Any, like... Never mind, I'm not gonna get into this. I feel like I've talked about that a million times every time I read one of these stories. Who believes she's capable of doing anything, but never does anything at all, not working an honest day in her life since I was born, and blaming me for it as if I owe her a favor. Admittedly, having a father figure annoyed me. While I was fully capable of making my mother do whatever I wanted... that's interesting. I wouldn't guess, based on how you just described her. My stepfather would sometimes have the audacity to stop me from playing video games to make me do chores. You know, it's... I know you're phrasing it that way on purpose, obviously, but, as a child, I also thought that way multiple times. I'm like, well, the thing is, you can say it's like it's spoiled brat, entitled, whatever, but like I always hated school, so I was just thinking like on the weekend, like this is my chill time, you know, I want to have fun, play whatever, and then I gotta go mow the lawn, and you know, that's basically exactly my mentality, you know, fucking just let me relax. Anyway. None of this is to say he wasn't abusive. There were too many incidents for one to stand out. But with my mom's brainwashing at the time, I sometimes consider how bad things were in hindsight. In any case, I managed to convince my mom that she and I and my sister should move out. She couldn't be bothered to pack, so I packed everything myself, and she couldn't be bothered to work, so we moved in with a pedophilic cat man. What? When my sister was still young enough that this could be a problem. He was near senile in his 70s, and he wouldn't part with the cats, so my mother had me help her hang them with a rope. What the fuck is this story? So apparently he helped his mother hang the old cats. That's what he wrote, dude. That's what he wrote. Cats weren't meant to be hung. No shit. They didn't die fast, but I had accepted that my role in life was to be the guy with a shovel who solved problems so my mother couldn't. Is this more edgelord LARPing? Like, what the fuck is going on? This is why I wasn't reading Doomer stories, because I'm just like, the fake ratio, the fake to real ratio, there's way too many fake ones now. It's like, this doesn't... Am I going to need to start requiring people to say what country that you live in at the beginning of the story? For no particular reason, you know. Just say what country you live in. Yeah, and race, yeah. It might make it a little more believable, I don't know. What do you think? Do we keep reading this one? There's only 3 paragraphs left. Fuck it, fine. Okay, blah, blah, blah. It gets worse. She turned to prostitution to take care of us, and I only hated her for it. A little ESL last sentence here. And I only hated her for it. She disgusted me. I get what you're saying. Because of the move, I had to change schools. I had a large group of friends that did whatever I told them to. I called myself their dictator. And I was the first in the group to date a girl. Yeah, that's very sensible. She was autistic, claimed to be in love with fictional characters on the side, and that she was non-binary. She wasn't. Okay, so this is definitely a Zoomer, I guess. Just judging by this stuff. And that she was molested when she was younger. I did love her, but I inherited my mother's narcissism and convinced myself I shouldn't carry this dead weight. What aren't you like a child? How young are you at this point? And you're telling me you thought that a girlfriend was dead weight as like a teenager or however old you are at this point? Yeah, this is middle school, I think. This is in middle school. Alright. Anyway. I dumped her, regretted it, and to get revenge on me, she started dating one of my friends, effectively exiling me from the group I created. But it doesn't stop here. I had a stepsister. We kept in touch after the split. My mom always said that we were cute together, which made me uncomfortable, but she never seemed to object. I had no intention of escalating the relationship. We already platonically slept together, cuddled, held hands, etc., and she was beautiful. I'm talking to... Okay, I'm done with the story. I don't care anymore. Moving on. So we got 2 fake stories in a row. It was good to return to Doomer Hour, I think. It was a good... I wonder why I stopped doing these. It's truly a mystery. Alright, what song do we want next? The only thing I believe about that is narcissism. Yeah, that part was definitely true. Her name, Albert Einstein. Yep, everyone collabed. My parents had me when they were really young. Dad 19, Mom 20. And when they had me, something sparked a fuse in their head to name me after a goddamn animal. Wolf. Not a normie basic bitch Slav. Oh, it is... Yeah, this is a Serbian, by the way. This is a Serbian. If you're curious what specific Slav name, but an animal. They also did this with my younger brother, but he's a lion, so fuck him. What? Being the firstborn of a young, green, stupid couple, That's an interesting phrase, but I'll forgive you for that one. Anyway, I already knew it was over, for me at least. Dad was a young entrepreneur selling the hood goods, and my mom was a hardworking woman with a job and was also a stay-at-home wife. I wouldn't say my childhood was that bad. Hold on. My eyes are getting so dry. I wouldn't say my childhood was that bad, despite being beaten the living shit out of by my dad. 60% was deserved, but other times he was unwell in the head. And having him in my head 24/7 telling me how retarded I am and such. The Slav stories are all the same. The Slav stories are all the fucking same, dude. But that's how you know they're real, because they're all the same. They're all the same. Anyway, okay. What's up? Yeah, drunk dad get beat up. Yeah, that's pretty much all. Holy shit. Okay, anyway. I don't mean to laugh at people's misery, but it's like, it does sound like a cartoon. Anyway. But he did have a good side when it was a special day like the holidays or my birthday. But that doesn't matter when you were stuck in a small home. This song is starting to distract me. We listened to this one before, but I can't remember this one, so I hope it's a good one. Let's see. But that doesn't matter when you're stuck in a small home full of mental patients that you have to tiptoe around. It could be the paranoia because of my dad doing illegal stuff, but still, why not abort me since you are so young and you want to do this stupid shit like being a gangsta? My grandpa had that idea, but here I am living the life. Even though he advocated for my perishment, you know, it's... I don't mean the shit on the ESL stuff, it's just like the word choices are always interesting to me. Anyway, my grandpa was the only one that spent most of the time with me and showed me the ropes of a woman's heart. Yes, he was a womanizer, and goddamn was he a good one. When I turned 10, I became depressed and stopped caring about anything except gaming. But even that fucked me over because I would run away from school to play in an internet cafe. I did that a couple times in middle school, but when I started high school, that's when I got really bad. Mostly because my dad went to jail. Dude, wasn't there another Slav story where the dad went to jail or prison? I can't remember. I think there was another one. Anyway, my dad went to jail. My grandpa died. Brutal. COVID, and my mom was pregnant with a third child. Not an animal name, by the way. This sounds like a punchline, man. Anyway, what? Dude, I can't help but laugh inappropriately at these fucking stories. Okay. When I started high school, I also met my first girlfriend through Instagram, and despite being a nerdy fellow, the bitch sucked me off on a baseball field. I guess not all bad. You fake sell. All it took was, can I kiss you? And the bitch fell for it. But I don't even know what to say to that. But as you know, everything is a catch, and she cheats on me with a fake-ass black dude. This isn't... Great. After that, I haven't felt a thing. I was more empty than that time my grandpa died. She cheated on me after my grandpa died just to get in my head even more. But I said, nuh-uh, fuck you, bitch, and got on with her best friend forever that's low-key rich. I noticed she liked me, so I said, fuck it, why not? Again, there is a catch with these women. She suffered from depression, ADHD, dyslexia, and was pretty fucking stupid, not gonna lie. I did manage to fix her. Well, I'm gonna press X to doubt on that one. I got to my third year of high school and gave up on it. I noticed no one cared in the classes. Mostly it was online, so everyone was cheating and was just playing games. Yeah, COVID really fucked up a lot of people. Overall, I lost hope in the system and the people running it. I run away from home, start living with a crazy woman, and that's that. I feel like you're really glossing over this. I should have looped that song. That was my bad. Hold on. How can you just say you live with a crazy woman? You got to describe this. Like, you can't just fucking... That's... Anyway, what's even funnier is I had 3 jobs without a high school diploma. One at a fast food restaurant. The boss was a Montenegrin Italian bastard. Brutal. Fast food delivery and weed delivery. Those are the 3 jobs. The guy who gave me the job started tripping out because of an already broken bike, so I got into a fight with him. And the most insufferable job ever, being a dispatcher for the retarded ESL truckers in America. Might I add, it wasn't the ESLs that broke the last straw. It was the people I was working with in the company. One guy was working without an ounce of English. The guy that was my superior was full of bad jokes and was always passive-aggressive. And the guy that hired me was a sad loser whose wife left him, so he decided to play dad with me. I know you didn't mean that in an extremely gay way, but it's not kind of gay the way you phrase it. Yeah, okay, I get it. He wanted to be a father figure for you. So I just said, fuck it, I'm out. I'm 21 now, and I'm planning on moving to Brazil with my crazy-ass roommate, ex's ex BFF. I managed to fix her. She became pretty based over the years, but at what cost if I can't seem to fix my own retarded life? I'm sorry if most of this is disjointed and doesn't make any sense. Well, at least you apologized. I don't want to put too much out there for the sake of my family. I will say they became better and learned from their mistakes, but I never got a sorry for their shitty behavior, so fuck them, lol. Yeah. If I were to describe my life, it would be a Serbian hood version of Malcolm in the Middle being the oldest sucks cock. Well, that was quite the story. Holy shit. Alright. Alright, guys. I know you guys want me to read more Doom Hour stories, but I think I can only do one more. My stomach... I think it's because I'm getting too dehydrated, but my stomach feels like shit. Yeah, this one's decent length. Alright, we need a new song. More depressing than that one. That one wasn't depressing enough. Actually, I think I had a short playlist of the decent Doomer Hour songs, didn't I? I never added more to it, but there's like 4 or 5 in there. Hey, Synth, thought I'd throw my hat into the ring on this. Hand to God, everything in this story is 100% true. Alright, it's fake. Alright, I'm calling it fake. Anyway. And I pledge now that if it's not, may I be cursed to unlock the Troon ending. Dramatic, yes. But we know N-words be sending fake fables and shit. I'm 31 and still live at home with my parents. I have moved out a few times, once with a girlfriend. But in most cases, my mom being an unhinged narcissist, relatable, kicked me out for some unmet insane expectation. Regardless, I have come to deem my parents' house as the trauma tractor beam, as I always end up back here, and realize my mental health suffers greatly from living with my parents. I'm kind of the same way. I feel like I was more stable when I was living with my dad. Anyway, I'm also 6'1", fake cell. But before everyone spurgs out, please understand, this has never helped me. You gotta tone down. Well, first of all, you said you moved out with your girlfriend. Your girlfriend proves it helped you. So, cope. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm trolling a little, but you can't say it didn't help you if you literally said one sentence earlier you moved out with your girlfriend. I'm probably a 7.8 or 7.5. My brain did 7.8 like the too much water thing. Anyway, 7.5 on the 10 scale. And so far, none of the girls / women I've dated have been good people. That has nothing to do with anything. Who cares if the women are good or bad? That's never been the fucking point of what incels say at all. I feel like completely missed the point on that one. Alright, whatever. Anyway. I got rejected brutally many times as a kid by many girls. That doesn't mean anything. In my adult life, my girlfriend of 2 years almost killed me because she was so much of a head case. That's interesting. We'll see more on that one. So, Short Kings, believe me, you're not missing out on a life that is only unlocked when you're tall. Oh boy. I'm not gonna rant about this, but this really is just like, I don't know. I'm not getting into it. I'm too tired. But again, like, it's like the rich people being like, you don't want money. Trust me. Trust me, you don't want money. Anyway. Where was I? I might as well be short, given my experiences with dating, and I've been single since 2018. I've met/talked to some women since, but after my last real girlfriend, I am hyper aware of crazy girl red flags, and none of them were well adjusted. It just sounds like modern women to me. As a kid, I loved all the same things you and probably many members in chat loved. Star Wars, prequels are gay, Dragon Ball Z, and really anything on Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon. For often being more in tune with reality with... Dude, my brain is melting. I gotta get through this story. For often being more in tune with reality than my peers, I had a very hard time making friends and despised school to the point that I literally just stopped going during my junior year. In my sophomore year, I had a really cool history teacher who was a retired NFL player that casually dropped the knowledge on us that when you turn 17, legally the school system can no longer force you to show up. And because the country bumpkin school district I began my education in forced me to start school a year later than I arguably could have, I turned 17 the summer of my junior year. For context on this, it wasn't like I was shoving blocks up... Okay, once again, another sentence that just came out of nowhere. But this one is joking, obviously. But for context on this, it wasn't like I was shoving blocks up my ass in preschool and they deemed me a retard. That's what he wrote. It was that my summer birthday was 10 days later than their start cutoff date. In hindsight, I realized this may have affected my ability to make friends because I felt compelled to dumb myself down in order to fit in. Oh boy. Not being grandiose here, just explaining why things may have transpired the way they did. I was born in South Dakota, and genuinely thank God we got the fuck out of there because it really was inbred IQsville. There's retards everywhere at this point, man. It doesn't really matter where you go. I think what started my edgelord awakening was in kindergarten. You know, sometimes I read shit, you know, I think about my life, right? And I'm like, man, you know, I was always kind of an edgelord. And then you read, oh yeah, I was an edgelord since kindergarten. Is this a fucking dick measuring contest? What the hell's going on? I was a normal child-ish until like 14 years old. At least compared to you motherfuckers, anyway. Not normal, literally. I was very much a shy introvert, but I mean, like, I didn't go down the Doomer edgelord type shit until I was 13 or 14, in my experience. Anyway, getting back to the story. I think what started my edgelord awakening was in kindergarten. This was at a fucking Catholic school, mind you, but a few major events took place. There was a kid named Mitchell, and I remember one of the other kids calling him Bitchel. Got him. Fucking got him. Anyway. So that made me start swearing and thinking wild shit was hilarious way too young. Bitchel deserved that, though, because the fucking faggot stole one of my Max Steel figures out of my backpack, and when he lied and told the teacher it was his, I end up getting in trouble because the teacher accused me of trying to steal it from him. How to build a Hitler 101. Yeah, true. These fucking lesbian pedophile school teachers don't realize how many chuds they're making. Anyway. Once second grade hit, my mom moved me into public school because the weird-ass Catholic school also made me clean up my friend's vomit? What? In the lunchroom of first grade. Sounds fake, I know we're all laughing, but it was that simple. We were standing in line, he went super pale and then hurled. When the teacher on lunch duty for the day came over, she wheeled the mop to me and told me to clean it up because I'm his friend. I froze at this, as even at 7, I knew that was fucked up, but didn't have the balls to say it, so I cleaned it up anyway. Thankfully, in a rare occurrence of my mom actually being on my side, she ripped that teacher a new one after I told her about this and said I was not going back there next year. She quickly undid that gesture of allegiance, though. At my new public school, I brought a Butt Ugly Martians, damn, you just unlocked the memory, Butt Ugly Martians toy to play with at lunch, and my teacher took it for some random ass reason while we were on the playground. Yeah, dude, public school teachers, teachers ever are fucked up, man. No good people become teachers anymore, it seems like. I said fuck that and later stole it out of her desk when she left the room, but my dickhead suck-up friend told her I did this, even though I also got his. Damn, what a traitor. Holy shit, can't trust anybody. And another kid's toy back for them in the process, because they were playing with their figures at recess with me. What? I don't even know. Whatever. What a subhuman. Anyway, when the teacher told my mom I did this, her grand idea was to tell my teacher to throw my figure away. Yeah, why'd your mom say that? That's not the only time I had figures just chucked in the garbage, thanks to my parents, by the way. And probably explains why I'm a super OCD toy collector now. You know what's funny? I've told my mom almost that exact same thing before. Where it's like... I was kind of a spoiled brat when I was younger in the sense that my parents more or less got me what I wanted. But I feel like, I don't know, my mom arbitrarily in her head just decided around when I was like 12 that she was just not going to get me stuff anymore for except, on a special occasion. And I don't know, this just kind of like seeded something in my brain where it's just like, now I must have these things at any cost because I'm not allowed to have them anymore, And that's kind of what led to my, consumer phase later. Luckily, I kind of burned through that, and I don't do it as much anymore, but, sometimes I still buy shit, as you can see. Anyway. Let's see. People are asshats, and most of the things that I ever felt a pinch of enjoyment from during my childhood were my toys. He's gay! That's what he wrote in parentheses. The next year, my family moved to Colorado, and I was really excited because I thought this was going to be my shot to start over and maybe be around people that weren't absolute country retards. Sadly, bigger city, bigger problems. I mostly continued the trend of confusing, disappointing friendships, so I retreated to my interests in nerd hobbies once again. I was doing well in school academically, but this wouldn't last long. My third grade teacher was also way too hot. And it was a huge distraction. Wait a minute, third grade? How is that a distraction? I mean, yeah, I get young kids do pop boners, that's true, but I mean, you're not going through puberty yet. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, anyway. It's maybe a chicken and the egg situation, but I've often had the feeling that something bad happened to me as a kid, and I don't remember it, as my sexual awakening seemed to happen much earlier. Okay, he even addressed it. That's interesting. Okay. Much earlier than I think most kids do, and I'm not being a gooner type by saying this. I see what you mean in the sense that, cartoons give kids weird fetishes, so... I understand what you're getting at here. Anyway, I've heard hypnotherapy can often make you have false memories about the past, and that's about the only thing they suggest for someone in my situation. I don't pursue figuring this out because I'm not interested in muddying the waters in my quest for clarity. Okay. Anyway, back to my hot teacher. She was also a total cunt. I remember in 5th grade, some friends and I got pulled into the principal's office for fighting during our game of football. The principal said that since it was close to the end of the year, she wasn't going to call our parents, but we needed to all write each... We all needed to write each other apology letters. Ha, gay! And she would let it go. But while I was in one of the main office conference rooms, working on my letter, My 3rd grade teacher, who wasn't my fucking teacher anymore, saw me and gave me this weird evil smile and wave. I didn't think anything of it at the time. But when I found this... when I got home that day, I found out the bitch had taken it upon herself to fire up the stinky snatch snitch hotline and call my mom. So I still got screamed at that afternoon, many such cases. I should mention that I found this lady on Instagram during Blowvid 2020, and I made the attempt to ask her why she treated me the way she did, but as you'd expect, she foided out and blocked me before even responding to my message. Women are so fucking mentally ill these days, dude. Anyway, women like this deserve accountability, yet we often see they never face it. Well, yeah, they never will unless they have to. Despite that, 5th grade was probably the only year of school I really enjoyed because I had a based male teacher. Basically, if we can agree the general K-12 experience is like a forced 12-year hell, I look back on 5th grade as my Dead Poets Society moment. Yeah, this is a good movie. Hopefully that analogy makes sense. This is just a glimpse into some of my early injustices. I feel like anything more and I'm taking up too much time. I also have had an immense love for music. I started playing piano when I was 4, even though it was more forced on me by my mom, but either way, my musical skills started early. I do remember begging her to let me get a guitar at the music store instead, but she said no. Long story short, when we moved, I let my parents just sort of forget about finding me a new piano teacher, but I would put in eye drops, but I mean, I'm probably gonna go to bed after this stream. Just know, like, I gotta like blink every 2 seconds to this point. Anyway. I let my parents just sort of forget about finding me a new piano teacher, but I picked it back up on my own again in 7th grade. I started by learning some piano-based songs by The Fray, One Republic, and Linkin Park based. But mostly converting a lot of the rock and metal songs I was into at the time into piano pieces. Eventually, I realized the piano is for Chinese virgins. And I got a guitar for Christmas in 8th grade. This is what led to me leaving school early because I was already in a band in my junior year and we were starting to play around town. The other guitar player in our group was graduating that year, and I didn't want to be the last guy still in high school. Since I was already showing up most days with an empty backpack, I said fuck it and just stopped going. I did get my GED, and what do you fucking know, I'm not a dummy, I was just bored. I ended up helping a lot of the adults in my class with math stuff, and I was able to make Jew-American school system. That was the problem all along. Oh, I skipped the fucking, sorry. I skipped a sentence. I ended up helping a lot of the adults in my class with math stuff, and I was able to make it make sense for them in a way that they could apply to their own studies. That was pretty validating to know that it was the Jew-American school system that was the problem all along, many such cases. Yes. I'm sure by now everyone's going, oh, fake, boo-hoo. Dude, we've read way worse than this. Way worse than this. Anyway. People, there's way bigger attention-seeking ones than this. Anyway. Rockstar pretending to be down and out, but that's not what's happening here at all. While I did get to meet some of my heroes and even open for a few of them, when I didn't make the cut to play guitar for a band I really would have loved to join, that was a national act. That was the failure I didn't have a good emotional backup plan for. I was a semi-pro for a little less than 10 years. Oh, right, yeah, he's 31, right? I think that's what he said at the beginning. Anyway. And most of that was spent cycling through band members that really didn't give a shit about the music. Just wanted to get drunk and get an ego boost for an hour on stage. The Denver music scene is a fucking joke, yet when you survey the land out here, guys will swear up and down it's the best place to be. They're the equivalent of political experts who in reality are West Virginia cousin fuckers that have never been on a plane. No one who is a good musician stays here, it's a fucking fact. Not getting that spot was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, though, as it came out during lockdown that the singer of this band was getting a little too friendly with his underage fans. Because I'm super petty, I often get a laugh out of the fact that this dickhead wrote a song about his love for Dr. Disrespect, and the music video consists of him performing this song while he's dressed up as that Jomo. He also, ironically, released this music video only a few weeks before the latest tailspin of a drama came out about the doc. They actually had a lot more in common than we realized. Creep. Here's where I'm really gonna bring the room down. At the beginning of 2024, I'd had enough. I parked my car near a local suburban highway and jumped off the overpass. Oh shit. It was about a 40-foot drop, so by all accounts, I should be dead, and I was for a little while. I spent 3 months in the hospital, many surgeries, and I couldn't walk normally again until the early summer. These days, if you met me, you'd never know this happened, so someone was looking out for me that night. Here's where I offer some advice to anyone in the audience who may be considering ending their life. Do not do it. I had a very difficult breakup with my musical passions, but I'd hoped one day I'd come back to it on my own terms without the weight of having to make it. Because of my actions, I broke my right arm and left wrist so badly that I will never be able to play the guitar again. Damn. The plate in my left wrist doesn't allow for my hand to move enough to properly fret the instrument, and my right arm doesn't extend fully because I shot the lower bone out the back of my arm. Ooh. There's some other bonus prizes too, but this side effect is the one that on my worst days I'm pretty sad about. In a way, it feels like all the hard work I put in to get sober from alcohol was a waste, because what the hell am I sober for if all a life of full clarity gets me is white-knuckled sadness? But truthfully, music was a disguise. I was diagnosed with autism a few years ago. I score high on the 1 out of 3 scale, and this gave me a much needed clarity about my life. No, I didn't do the Reddit thing and fill out some 40-question survey on a random site. I went to an actual treatment center to be assessed. I haven't omitted any details about drawing furry... Alright, well, it's not like I immediately assumed that. I haven't omitted any details about drawing furry porn or anything like that, but I am a little off, and that's okay. Anything that feels like pretend now, I am no longer interested in. But I must make this clear, even if you're just a guy who plays video games all day and you say, I have no skills left to lose, you won't know that until you break your hand so bad that you can't hold a controller anymore, or you miss with that gun and end up trapped inside your own body, forced to watch the rest of your life play out, while someone you may or may not know is wiping your ass every day. Yeah, that is pretty bleak. You don't want that, trust. The propaganda of movies leads many to believe life will suddenly all come together after a near-death experience. Truth is, at least for me, I had more questions afterwards. All I can say, boys, is take any and all opportunities you see in your life. I objectively don't have many, but I am demanding change from my lived experience. If I'm going to live, then I must feel like that's something I'm able to do. And so, for example, I stopped going by my birth name last year and started using a shortened version of my middle name. That alone was a reset I had no idea would be so powerful. But all the gay people-pleasing shit I was living my life under the first 30 years is gone. Find those small steps, friends. I hope this helped. And Synth, thanks for reading it if you did. Alright, there you go. At least that was an actual story. We got one in there. We got one full story. The Slav one wasn't bad or anything, just kind of like low detail. I feel like a lot of the Slav ones were kind of like on the lower end of detail usually. But that one at least was like, you know, a full narrative. There you go. I'm like passing out, guys, so let me get through the super chats real quick and then I'm just going to end the stream. I guess I could keep playing the music. A lot of stories are usually like, my dad yelled at me once, I got traumatized for life. By the way, I found my longtime wife. I was still preschool. Alright, silly G, it's not that insane. Alright. That is funny, but there have been a few where I don't want to feel like I'm shitting on anyone in particular. Not that I even remember who wrote some of these, but like, Remember the one story with the theater kid who thought he was like way too cool for that shit and then like fucked it up with the girl and we all got mad? I remember that. Anyway, that's one of the ones where I think about it sometimes. Like, god damn, I would remember that shit for the rest of my life. Especially because he was being their bitch. He was basically, he thought he was too good for them, and then he was just fucking doing their dirty work the whole time. And it's like, you can't think like this. You cannot think like this. Okay, see ya.